What's up, everybody? Congratulations. You made it to episode number 3 of the CORE Talk Show. Congratulations. I'm so glad you're here today. Big show today. But first, I just want to say that I appreciate every one of you. We took a little break of AWTV. A lot of things going on at the same time. So I apologize for missing the last 2 weeks of filming. But we are back at this week with this episode of the CORE. And we also have a new video coming out Saturday, flying massive paper airplanes that Rob and I built together, and it'll be out Saturday, so I'm very excited about that, so stay tuned for that video. But first, for today's video, we have our very first interview with somebody who I admire on Instagram. She is a awesome lady, very strong woman. She has done a lot in her life, and she is a breast cancer survivor. This is the month of October. We have been doing a bunch of breast cancer stuff this whole month, so I'm very happy to have her on the show today. So without further ado, this lady, her name is Tina Conrad. She is the creator of DJ Breast Cancer, a podcast that she does. Amazing. I listened to a few episodes. I'm very excited for this talk show. I've been talking about this for a week now since we booked it, and I could not be more excited. So hope you guys are too. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm kind of nervous, to be honest with you. I don't really my first interview. I've done shows with other people before, but first person I don't really know too well, but we're going to get to know her today, know her story, and everything about her. It's going to be amazing. So without further ado, let's kick right into it. That is, give her a call. Hello. Hi. I'm great. How are you? How's your day going today? Good? How about you? I'm doing very well. I've been waiting for this all day long. Good, awesome. So this is my talk show, The Core. It's a talk show that I like to do just on the side of my YouTube videos. Just kind of talk about some fun stuff, have fun, nothing too serious, just having fun and talking about stuff on here.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright, awesome. So this is Tina Conrad. She does DJ Breast Cancer. Welcome to the CORE. How about you? Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you like to do.
Yeah, so I'm a 6-year breast cancer survivor, but I like to say that doesn't define me.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I'm a whole person, but after my breast cancer diagnosis and like working a crazy job, I just knew that there was like more purpose, and so I found myself just really wanting to utilize the information that I knew, and my mom was a 2-time breast cancer survivor, so I also went through it with her 2 times, and then obviously on my own journey, and so I wanted to let other people know that they're not alone in their cancer journey. So I started this podcast really to kind of get my story out, but then I just felt that there were so many other stories that needed to be told, and that kind of led me to having guests, and I'm coming up onto season 4 next year for my podcast, so I'm very excited.
That's awesome. Being a breast cancer survivor, like, how does that like give you any kind of like change in your life, like that you feel more like you can get out there into the world and do more and like kind of like represent for it in a way?
Yeah, it changed me in so many ways. It made me like hyper focused on like what I need to do in this world, and so like just living isn't enough, and like taking the days for granted is like silly. So like I really focus like really intently on like what are my goals, what do I really want to do. I just don't take things for granted anymore. And so if I want to take a trip somewhere, I try to take a trip. I try to do things that bring me happiness and bring me joy, but then also like trying to find purpose, so that each day has meaning, and that I'm doing something to help the world and help other people.
Yes, of course. That's awesome. I love that you're using your like in a platform in a way to kind of represent and kind of give a voice to people who doesn't normally want to or can. That's awesome.
And I try to always be real. Like I try to balance. Not every day is going to be sunshine and roses in life after cancer, and just who you are as a person, really figuring that out is hard. And for some people it's harder than others, and some people still have side effects that they're dealing with. And so I try to give, shine a light on many of those things, but at the same time understanding that each day is a choice, and how we live each day is a choice. And, you you can be sad. That's okay. Have a sad day, but don't stay sad. You have to talk to people. You have to, really the whole mental part of cancer is really what I find very interesting and ongoing in so many ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very, very true. I love that. I love that. So, more about like your personal life. I see you have a husband, happily married,
Yeah.
and I saw just a few minutes ago on your new Instagram post all your children and grandchildren. Is that or family?
My two goddaughters.
Two goddaughters. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I have like two best friends. One is my cousin that I've known, all my life, and then one from grade school, and we've just always been really close. And each of them have a daughter that I'm a godmother to, and not having children of my own, like they are my everything, and I love them. So I definitely spoil them, pretty rotten, but they're good. They're good kids no matter what. But yes. And I think, I try to talk a lot about my tribe and, having a tribe, which I met a lot of amazing women too from Instagram during my cancer journey, but having that tribe is so helpful. And whether it's people you already knew and new people that you meet, just having that support system is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely see that Instagram is a huge like platform to be able to reach out to other people in that way because at the beginning of this month, I have a clothing brand that I did a breast cancer shirt for, and like I was reaching out to people with breast cancer to kind of have them like look at it and kind of like be in the community, and like there's so much support and so many people out there who are just so supportive with each other.
Yeah. We really do want to help each other, and we want to move, the community forward, and everybody's so, engaging if it's helping the community, to move forward.
For sure. So getting a little bit deeper into the cancer part of this, like what is, like in life, like whenever it's diagnosed, like what like kind of changes in your life? Does anything really change besides just like the fact that you have it, or is it kind of like a new mental game, or like what's like the feeling?
The mental game is intense, and it's almost like there's this naivety, like before that you don't have anymore. So that innocence is kind of lost, that you're always going to be okay, and like you just always have like this kind of shadow. And like recurrence and the possibility of recurrence is a very real thing. So of people that get diagnosed with breast cancer, about 1 in 3 go on to get a recurrence and have metastatic breast cancer. I think it's maybe around 20% in total get metastatic, but it's a very real thing. And so I think always, and in my case with my mom having it and having it come back, hers was not stage 4 when it came back, but living through that again a second time when you've been through it once, it's a very scary thing, and so that definitely is like the biggest mental part of it.
So and then with like treatments of it, like how long does that process take, and just like
yeah,
is it like a depending on I guess the quantity, the amount of it, like how long does the process take of the whole thing?
Yeah, and I had a lot of different treatments. I was like stage 3A, and it depends different people and based on different types of breast cancer, and it's amazing that we can even have a conversation about what kind of type you are, so things have come a long way, but they still have a long way to go. And so for now, treatments for me lasted about a year, and it's a long time when you like are facing that mountain, so I had 16 rounds of chemo, one of which was just knocked me on my socks, and did that every 2 weeks. And then I had 12 rounds that were like, every week, but they weren't as intense. And then I had 25 rounds of radiation. I had 2 surgeries in there. So it was like a lot, it was kind of like a marathon, and I like running just personally. So kind of breaking it into like smaller chunks and like thinking about it more on the next, only this task kind of helped me to be more present and like to get through each stage, because it's just a real big mental game to get through everything.
Yeah. So you said about like the how strong it was. How does that affect, like you said the strongest one, you had one of them that was very strong and 12 smaller ones, but how does like that affect you,
Well,
physical way?
like chemo brain is a real thing. So like you go from being, I had like a high powered job. I led a team of like 10 people, and I felt like I was, like I had this promotion of my dreams. And then all of a sudden, I had breast cancer. And so it really, kind of, and I'm just like an achiever type of person. So for me to be sidelined and like to not know if like my brain was at max capacity was like a really humbling, and different kind of thing. And I ended up actually taking like a leave of about close to 3 months. And it was really a time for me to just kind of slow down and slow my mind and like truly focus on me. And I did yoga every day. And I really just took time to just like be present and like just try to find joy in each and every day. So it was a big change, but chemo brain is like no joke. You worry about your fingernails falling out. Obviously, you have no hair. At the same time, you have hot flashes and like can't sleep. And then just all the like pre-meds and meds, and like one medication will give one side effect, and then you take another medication which has another side effect. And so all those compounding like drugs in your body, it just wreaks havoc. I mean, I could give you crazy details that you probably don't want to know, but it just is so like not good for your body to just have all this like, chemicals and poisons, going through it. Obviously it's doing what it needs to do, but at the same time too, there's, there's side effects, and there's, things that are bad too.
Mm-hmm. So this just popped in my mind right now. I know a lot of people are, everybody, it's like wanting like the cure for cancer. Is chemo considered to be like the cure, or is it just it kind of rids the body of cancer, or is that like the cure?
It's really a treatment plan, but it comes with like collateral damage,
Okay.
So it kills all kinds of cells. So it kills good cells, it kills, bad cells too. But it's the best thing that we really have, at this point in time. There's a lot of research, being done, more like for breast cancer, particularly on monogram medicine and like adapting medicine more to like your DNA. There's more being done on like looking at it at a cellular level, and like they're having some success. But, each person is so unique and so different that there's like a whole new frontier of like this kind of nano kind of medicine that's out there. So I do believe, I mean, that's my hope. And even for my goddaughters in their lifetime, that they don't have to, if they get breast cancer, it would be truly, truly like a chronic disease or something that could be easily taken care of versus, having to, totally shut down your body and shut down your life, for years at a time.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll reach that point very soon in the process, yes. All right, so I want to talk about DJ breast cancer now.
Okay.
I've listened to a few episodes. They're very fun. I like the energy of them. And so you said you wanted to start the podcast just to be able to kind of get out there, talk about things that happen, support other women. And is there like any more backstory to that? Like on the...
Yeah, so I had a really good friend who I met in a support group, and she passed away in July of last year. And I think her passing just really made me like so aware that like if I have an idea and there's something I want to bring to this world, like I have to do it. I can't wait and hope that it'll one day like happen. Like, no, you have to do it today. And so I dedicated it to her. Like her logo even has like, or my logo has her initials like in it. But it's really a way to honor her because she's such an amazing person, and so I want her to like continue to live through this podcast. And then it's really kind of evolved. Like I felt like it was such a relief for me to tell my story, and I didn't realize the gift that like so many women are now giving me, and some men. I've had one man on my show now, but it's been such a gift for them to tell their story, and it almost like it lightens their load a little bit and like frees them. And so I think it's such a blessing to be able to share that gift, and then also to give the listeners like some ideas of like what could happen, or how we handled it, or what worked best in our case, and just bottom line to feel like they're not alone.
Yeah, the support group, and be able to hear other people talk about things that they're going through definitely helps people with like what they're going through. And then they see that other people are going through the same thing. It's a very good supportive way. And
Agree.
yes. So where can people go to listen to your podcast at?
So it's on Apple Podcasts under DJ Breast Cancer, and then my website is djbreastcancer.org, and then also Instagram. I'm very active, so that will lead you to a lot of different platforms and stuff too. But DJ Breast Cancer is my Instagram as well.
Awesome. There you go. Go listen to that. Do you have any other hobbies that you like to do for fun?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love running. I just finished a half marathon in September.
Awesome. That's awesome.
It was amazing. My second one after cancer, so it was pretty exciting. I was really mad I didn't run as fast as last year by like 2 minutes, but it was like 97% humidity, so I'm giving myself a break.
That definitely affects you a lot.
And then I love like microbreweries, so my husband and I love to try new ones, try our favorite ones, but definitely trying all the beers that are out there.
Yeah.
I love travel. I love going to big cities and getting my cup filled. I just recently went to Washington D.C. with 2 breast cancer survivors, and we just had an amazing time. I go to New York for work, and when I'm there, I try to take the opportunity and just see something new and different, and just have each day be an experience.
I love the fact that you have that mindset that each day is a new day, and you can go out and do something different every day. Because I try and live by that too, where every day is not promised, and you need to go out and live every day something you never know what's gonna happen the next day. You gotta experience things every day. Yes.
Agree.
Love that. What's one thing you'd like to tell listeners or viewers with breast cancer, or know somebody with it? So whenever you're on your show and you're talking to people, something that you can tell them about it to be able to help them learn more.
So people that are diagnosed with breast cancer, you're saying?
Yeah, something that they can learn from.
I would say really reiterating, it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to own your feelings of how you're feeling, and they're real, and you have to experience the feelings that you're feeling. So it's a loss, so you're going to go through things like you would go through with a death, where you're in denial, and then you're angry, and then you eventually come to some acceptance. But those are all very, very real feelings. But the thing I say is if you're sad and staying there, you have to get help, so making sure that you have someone that can help you on the dark days. And it could be someone and it could be someone that you don't know. It could be someone, via social media, or a therapist, or someone, but just making sure that you take time to acknowledge your feelings and talk to people.
Yeah, it's okay to feel some stuff.
Yes.
So a couple of fan questions, if you say. What's one thing you wish everybody knew about breast cancer? If there's one thing.
I tell people a lot. Breast cancer is more than just a lump. So I always tell women, any change, and women really should start checking themselves. I would say even as early as 20 years old, because you know your body best, and you are your own best advocate. And I've met many people who are 20 and 30. I was 37 myself, so if I had waited until the normal 40-year-old, guideline for mammograms, it would maybe be, a totally different story than today. So any change that happens in your body for more than a month is really a reason to have a conversation with your doctor. And so I'm very much an advocate on that. And breast cancer can look different in a lot of different people. It's not always a lump. It can look a lot of different ways. It can, show itself in many different forms. So just any change longer than a month, talk to your doctor. And you know your body best. And if you have this gut feeling, listen to it. It's very much intuition. And I do feel if something's nagging you or telling you something's wrong, you got to listen to that little voice.
Yeah, I feel like that goes with anything too. anything that's like going on differently, then you should get something checked out or
anything.
Deal with that. Anything,
I agree. Yeah.
And last fan question is, does cancer, I think you kind of already answered this in a way, but does cancer take a toll on you mentally as much as it does physically?
Oh yeah.
Yes, if not more, maybe.
In fact, it's probably just as hard.
Yeah.
And I think I was such a person that wrapped myself up in my work identity that it was really hard for me. But yeah, I know it's hard for a lot of people because a lot of women, and obviously breast cancer happens a lot in women, but women are like the primary caregivers, so they're the ones, doing a lot of the day-to-day. They're planning the meals. They're like, they're the doers of a lot of relationships. And so when it comes to breast cancer and being down for a long time and they're not used to that, like it's really hard just to know like what's my place within this family, within my work life, because I'm the one that's used to like kind of doing everything, so it's very much, weighs on your identity for sure.
For sure. And so you said that your mom had breast cancer twice, you said. Is that how many like years was in between that two that like do you know?
Yeah, so she was diagnosed in 2001, like literally 3 weeks after 9/11 happened. And so it was really a tough time for me because I just felt like my whole outside world was changing, and then all of a sudden my whole family and inside world was changing. And then and we handled it, like just like any family. We pulled together, we were, like amazing, and like I just felt like everything happened like really to cheer my mom on. And then it came back 3 years later, so 2004. And that time I handled it a lot differently. Like I was really angry. I was really mad at God. Like I was just really, really mad that this would happen, and like, what does this mean? And thankfully she's been good. So for, over 15 years now, she's been, cancer free. But it still worries her too, that it'll come back. And then I know when I was diagnosed, all those fears and worries came back in her, and a lot of guilt and a lot of, feeling that she somehow caused this. And we actually don't even have the BRCA gene or any gene at this moment that we know of that would link us to having it, from a genetic standpoint. But it's just crazy. Like you never know.
Just the chances of it happening, just both of you, it just happened.
Well, and our neighbor, like from where I grew up, I mean, she's probably a couple hundred yards from my house. Like she too has breast cancer, and she was just diagnosed like a couple years ago. So I honestly think like there could be something environmental or something that is linking it, because it's way too coincidental that 3 women within a quarter of a mile all had breast cancer. And I don't live there now, but I did for 18 years of my life. So who knows?
Yeah. It can affect anybody around you. And that's something we touched on earlier. Like I never personally got to meet my grandma, but I know my grandma had breast cancer, and that's what she passed away from. So that's one of the big reasons why I'm on like a breast cancer Find the Cure mission myself personally. But so just it can happen to anybody. You never know.
Yes, and she'd be proud of you. That's really awesome.
For sure. I hope so. You have a motto for hope: help one person every day. Is that just something that kind of came to you, or is that like
Yeah, like I wanted to inspire hope and have people feel like they're not alone, definitely. And then I love acronyms and like how letters can spell something, but I do love like how with a podcast, I don't have to be there like with every person in the world, but they can access me at any time of any day, and I have people listening, all around the world, which is amazing, like to see the countries and where people are following me from. I recently had a guest reach out to me. She's like a civilian, but she's in Afghanistan doing work there. But she got diagnosed with breast cancer, came back to America, did her treatments, and is now back in Afghanistan. So it's just amazing that like she can listen to me halfway around the world, and I can inspire this hope and hopefully help people. And so I do think it's beautiful that a podcast can just be available and people can listen to it. And actually I had someone reached out to me over the weekend from India. So it's just like, it's just really interesting how far, like love and light and support can reach people, in every corner of the world.
Yes, yeah. And kind of something that's similar to that was, I saw you were just on, lost it here. Oh, Francine's Friends. Was that a interview or a talk show? You had like an audience there with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We thought it would be fun to kind of almost do like a podcast, but kind of meets TED Talk kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we took some information that maybe, if just presented as a speech wouldn't be as exciting, but when you have the dynamics of, 3 people there, so it was someone in high risk cancer, and then someone who, and both in the medical field, and then someone in genetics, and I kind of asked them questions, meanwhile kind of weaving my story, within it. So it was a really fun experience, and I think the audience, really enjoyed it as well.
It seems like a great community event to be able to, not only like the podcast you said, it's be able to reach anybody, but having a convention in a way, kind of get people to come and listen in person.
Yeah, yeah, and they agreed to be on my next season, which
awesome.
will be fun too.
There you go.
I can have recruit them. So yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Let's see. Okay, so we are at our game.
Okay.
The game is called Would You Rather, and it's gonna be we will start easy and move on to kind of more wild things. Just kind of a fun thing, kind of get some laughs.
Okay.
All right. So, would you rather live in a cave or live in a tree?
Live in a tree.
Live in a tree.
Yeah. Do you want me to explain why or no?
If you can, if you want to.
I mean, I'd rather be out in the open and have the wind in my hair.
True. So. Outdoorsy kind of way. Would you rather see into the future or see through walls?
See into the future.
See into the future?
Yeah.
Let's see. Your only transportation would be a giraffe or a bear? That's saying
giraffe.
Okay.
Giraffe for sure.
Would you, if rain would change from water, would you rather be drenched in syrup or grease?
Ooh, syrup. That sounds more fun.
Sounds a little bit more yummy too.
Exactly.
Would you rather read aloud every word you read or sing everything you say?
Oh, sing, of course.
Sing everything. Do you like to sing?
Yeah,
the singer?
I do.
Would you rather be without social media or be without Google?
Oh, that's tough. My husband always teasing me about being on social media too much. But I love the quick answers of Google too, so I think I'd have to go without Google. I mean, I can use something else, right?
Very
Bing
true, yeah.
or...
True, yeah, you could. Guess if I didn't throw that in there, but would you rather be able to fly on a carpet or drive underwater?
Fly on a carpet? Is that what?
Yeah, kind of like Aladdin, I guess.
I guess I'll go with that one. It sounds more interesting.
True. You get places a little faster. And are you a fan of candy? Or like donut, right? Something. Would you rather have a bottomless gas tank or a bottomless box of candy?
I'm still more, like, I don't have as much of a sweet tooth, so I'd probably say bottomless gas tank.
Bottomless, yep. All right, that wraps up the talk show. Do you have anything else you wanted to say to anybody else? Give any more tips or tricks or any more motivation?
No, my podcast is full of Tina tips, is what I like to say. So each podcast I try to end with a Tina tip. And so I guess my Tina tip for you would be to just encourage people to listen to my show and check it out, because it's full of a lot of great information. I think even if you're not a survivor, if you just know someone going through a difficult time, they can find a lot of hope and inspiration. Very
true. And where can they find you on social media?
DJ Breast Cancer.
DJ Breast Cancer. Follow her on Instagram. Do you have Twitter? Twitter too?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. DJ Breast Cancer.
I'm not as active there, but yes.
Okay, yeah. Instagram is better anyway.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time and being open to talk about things and having fun, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thanks. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody, so that wraps it up for this talk show. Episode number 3 is over. Thank you so much to Tina for coming on the show today. Big round of applause for her. Thank you so much. Go ahead, guys, and like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you like this. Comment if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Comment. Follow DJ Breast Cancer on Instagram, Twitter, whatever else it may be. Any social media out there. Peace out. I will see you next time on the Core. Peace.